أشهد أن الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح.
me introduce to you the greatest religious and advisors, leader that we have in our time right now, Imam W. Dean Mohammed. Stand to your feet and welcome.
Praise be to Allah. And I greet also always with the greetings of peace. As Muslims say, Assalamu alaikum. That is, peace be on you. And let me first acknowledge the good efforts of those who sponsored this occasion, the Muslim Student Association, represented here today by Brother Jaffa, and all of the other organizations, the African American Student Association, and the Islamic community, our Islamic Center here in this area. Imam Rashid and all of you, we're very much appreciative of your work that you've done to make it possible for us to have the honor, good opportunity to address you on this campus of the University of Texas at Austin. We have a big topic here, and I hope that I can do justice by it. I have been lifted up so high just a few minutes ago until I tried to find my feet. We are addressing Islam, its influence on the American people, past, present, and future. We know of Islam as an influence in the black community, but we believe that Islam has influenced indirectly more than directly the whole society of America. There was a magazine captioned Reader's Digest during the lifetime of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It was around 50, I believe that caption came out in the early 60s, pardon me. The magazine, I can't recall the issue right now. I don't have it, I wasn't able to get that issue. But that magazine identified the Honorable Elijah Muhammad among black leaders and called him the most influential black man in America. And I would like to believe myself that in spite of all of the negative things that comes with our recollection of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, as it was called, there were great positive influence in our life, and I believe also in the life of American people, indirectly. But before I come back to the Nation of Islam, I want to kind of recall Islam proper, as it's understood and believed by Muslims all over the world, how that religion came into the world, and some of the changes that it, I believe, had a role in, changes for the better in the Western Hemisphere or for the Western societies. The coming of Islam was a coming into a world of darkness, a sleeping world. We had intelligent Christian leadership, Jewish leadership in the 5th century AD, but something was lost. And that was lost was the destiny that God wants all of us to come into. The destiny that the great religious movements were intended to assist had been lost. Arabia, the small peninsula of our prophet, prayers and peace be on him, was in darkness. The time for that peninsula and the conditions there is called by Muslims since then and now the time or the period of ignorance, Jahiliyyah. With the coming of Islam, all of that was changed. And very soon, in a relatively short period of time, all of that was changed. The Muslims, under the leadership of the last Prophet Mohammed, became the leaders for a new awakening, a revival of interest in man's humanity, man's destiny, and also education and even science. We believe as Muslims, because of the revelation that Prophet Muhammad received over 1,400 years ago, we believe that humanity is one, the human family is one. We have common flesh, though our flesh differs in color, features differ. We have one common flesh, we have one common life, one common humanity, one common nature, one common destiny. You will find that our beliefs are your beliefs. I believe that Muslims, when we share with an audience our values, our essential principles, or concepts, that we have in our audience people who believe in the same and who share the same. That speaks for the universality of truth, the common life of man, and it speaks for the connection of continuity, I would say, of divine revelation. We have a very special democracy here in the United States. It has been called peculiar democracy. But I think our democracy, and as some others have said and are saying, is a living democracy. And by the way, Muslims see our Holy Quran, our book, our holy book, the Quran, as a living book. By that is meant that it accommodates needs for growth and improvement, as we ourselves realize that we have needs for more growth, for more improvement. We believe that it is a timeless book, that whatever will happen in the future for man and society, the Quran will be on time to help us, to guide us. I believe of this democracy, this special democracy that we have, that it is a living organism too, and it accommodates needs as those needs develop. I believe that the people, Christian West, that believed in Jesus Christ, peace be on him, and followed his teachings, and came to know a democracy that we all are very proud of now. I believe that those Christians are also developing and people undergoing steady, continuous kind of growth or evolution. democracy is conceived and constructed upon man's common creation. Now, I don't know if my language will be accepted, but when I read in the preamble or the introduction to the Constitution, the language, I come to understand that this idea of freedom and justice and equality is nothing new. It wasn't conceived for the first time by the founding fathers, but it's something I find in our scriptures, not just the Islamic scriptures or Muslim scriptures, but in our scriptures, scriptures of Christians and the scripture of Muslims and even Jews, although I'm not as acquainted with Judaism as I am with Christianity. We believe also that, and God has given us this idea, that Christians were after the ideal society, and they missed it. But I believe, and I don't know if Muslims are saying this now, Muslims teachers or leaders or spokesmen, I don't know if they're saying this now, but I believe that, yes, Christian leadership, Christian intellectuals, they missed the mark in the early years after the passing away from this world of Christ Jesus. But after the Quran, the Christians turned their attention back to their wisdom, to their sacred scriptures and to their wisdom. And I believe that because they start hitting the mark and not missing the mark, we have this good opportunity for life and liberty in America and in Western society. Now, maybe you might say you're giving Islam too much credit. Well, I think many Western historians studied history. I think they also have given Islam a lot of credit for at least initiating an intellectual interest in the Christian world and in the West for finding the truth, finding the course for man on this earth, or the destiny that God wants for us. We believe that Islam is what brought about that period of enlightenment we call the Renaissance. We believe also that America benefits not only from a revival of interest in the knowledge of the Greeks, political system, legal system, and all of that, but because Muslims took up that challenge first. And then the Christian leadership got interested in knowing how did these people come from idolatry and ignorance to all of a sudden have this interest and produce scientists, mathematicians like Khwarizmi, and medical doctors like Abu Sina, and many others. They were curious to know what had done this for the Muslims. So they studied the Quran, they studied Arabic, they studied the Quran, they studied the life of our Prophet, and they came to have a direct contact with Islamic wisdom, Islamic guidance. And because of that, there was the Renaissance. I'm not interested so much in talking about the intellectual destiny of man, but addressing some of the real problems that we have and still have, in spite of the great progress that the Western world has made in education, in science, in technology, and even in, I would say, the field of humanity. I know some African Americans will disagree with me right now. So you don't think that the white man is making progress on the road of humanity. But believe me, the white man has made a whole lot of progress on the road of humanity. And you will agree too if you recall a few years ago. See, I can recall a few years ago, 30 years ago. I can recall 50 years ago. Congratulations, white man. You have made a lot of progress. Well, I'm wanting to address some of these serious problems. One is the problem of racism. Now, racism is not something that suddenly came about. Racism, too, came from the past. Before we were brought to America, there was racism. The caste system in India is evidence. We would call that racism. If we would go to India and would be transformed suddenly into the image of the dark Indians of India and experience the class system there, the caste, C-A-S-T, the caste system there. And I think they're making some progress to change all that, but it's slow. I think we would see the Indian people as a racist people, especially those that enjoy the special class, the privilege of identifying as the people of the light. Another way of saying white people, you know? Right. I think we would feel that we were in a racist society. So racism is an old thing, a very old thing. The proof that racism existed in the time of the prophet is from his own words, prayers and peace be on him. He had to reprimand some of his own followers for having racist attitudes toward certain persons of black skin or dark skin. They didn't only have racial arrogance, but there were other arrogance. There's arrogance of wealth, arrogance of power, arrogance of intellect, and also arrogance of race. I think the worst one, and I'm sure most of us agree, is the arrogance of race, this racism, because it kind of tried to give scientific basis or real basis for justifying the superiority of one race over another. It introduces pseudoscience and hope that the naive people will accept that pseudoscience in hopes of justifying the subjugation of one people, the exploitation of one people for the advantage of another. That is the evil that I think that makes possible evils of arrogance, political arrogance of power, and arrogance of wealth. I think racism gives more food to those evils and make those evils much bigger than they would be if there wasn't the arrogance of race, that special, peculiar kind of racism that we have had in America and can find even in medieval and ancient times. God says in our holy book that he created all of us from a single pair, that he created all of us from a male and a female. And that male and female were one person, one nature. And God caused that one person or one nature to become male and female, and then from them, God says he made many men and women all over the world. We believe then that we have a common parent, and that's not new to you Christians and others. We believe also that the excellence that we have is not restricted to one people, but is given fairly and justly to all people, all colors, all nationalities. God says in our holy book, the Quran, فَأَحْسَنَ سُورَكُمْ, that God has made excellent your
design. Your design. Literally, surakum means your picture. And you know, this is what we're given, pictures. In my boyhood days, we were given a picture of black man, typical black man, as a nappy-headed, black-skinned, nappy-headed man with blunt features, big wide nose, thick lips. That was supposed to be the typical, original type for African people. We know today that that's not true. In fact, that's not even the popular type. That type does not represent the majority in Africa. And I was surprised when I saw, is Mick Jagger, is that his name? I saw him singing, and it just came to my notice, the size of his lips. And I said, I thought we only had lips like that. So those who study science, the science of the human race, the physical environment, effect on the human being, the physical human being, we have answers for these differences, scientific answers. فَأَحْسَنَ, he made excellent your design. Now, I have to also realize that this is Black History Month too, and I want to share this with our African American brothers and sisters who are not Muslims. This language in the Quran has freed me from any burden of race. When God says he made excellent your picture or your design or your image, your figure, whatever you want to, like a term you want to use, to me it's saying when I look in the mirror, I shouldn't see something that I should feel ashamed, be ashamed of. I should look in the mirror and see something that's excellent. And the excellent picture that God is talking about is not the black skin or the white skin or the red or yellow skin. It's not the nappy hair or the straight hair or the blunt features or the sharp features. God is talking about this human symmetry. God is talking about this Homo erectus. God is talking about this man that he has evolved above the animals, that made him human, with a humanity and with a great destiny. That's what God is talking about. And God is saying that this is the description that he has given us. This is the design that he has given us. And we shouldn't look to our colors and our features, because I'll tell you the truth. In my younger years, I was looking for a girl with big lips. Now it doesn't make that much difference to me. I've been worn out. And I like the nose kind of wide. I didn't like it too narrow. I guess that's the white blood in me. And God also says, God says that he says we, which God means God is speaking as the absolute authority responsible for everything that happens of good. God says we certainly dignified every child of Adam. We certainly dignified, made with dignity, to have dignity, every child of Adam. With that, I'm going to make another statement that maybe some will have some problem with. When we look at the great advancements that we have in the New World as Americans, we should not see just the Industrial Revolution and the Renaissance, or the Age of Enlightenment that preceded that Industrial Revolution. We shouldn't look at just the developments in the West as developments that have brought us more and better civilization. We should see Islam also as the civilizer that went even before the Industrial Revolution, even before the period of enlightenment, or the age of enlightenment. I have read by Western historians their reports of Muslims and Christians kind of getting acquainted with each other under the worst conditions. That was the Crusades. And there is one report that during the Crusades, the leader of the Christian Crusaders, the Crusaders are Christian, and the Muslim side, when the leaders observed the Muslims on the battlefield clean in their appearance, shaven. Now, you know they wore beards, but we're supposed to trim this thing. And some of them took note, and they said, how can they take shower, even put scent on them, fragrance on themselves, and look so nice in battle? They took the information back to their other people, their headquarters, and as a result of that, they started making their appearance better. Now, that's not the only report of the influence of Islamic civilization on the Western world. I'm not saying this to criticize, but even the weapons of the Christian Crusaders were barbaric. They would fight with the mace, ball and chain, and with swords so heavy, they had to go into Mike Tyson training just to wield, to handle it. But Salahuddin, his sword was thin and light and so sharp, I learned this from Hollywood, that he could throw up a silk handkerchief and hold out his sword, and just the falling of the handkerchief on his sharp blade split the handkerchief into two pieces. Now, I think that was very merciful killing. You know, it's quick, painless almost. I think we should see Islam as a civilizer. I'm still in the past time. I haven't come to the present yet. We also, I think, need to look at what is called the colonial period, when Western powers believed in conquering and dominating the world. I recall as a boy listening to the radio, and I was during World War II, and I heard our president say, and I still can hear his words in my ears, "We can police the world." So that tells me that was the desire, to police the world. Muslims and others, the third world people, and many others other than Muslims and other than blacks, suffered a setback because of colonial domination. And we must remember that Muslims are just recently, Pakistan got its independence in 1947. Egypt, I think, right around the same time, close to the same time. And Muslim nations, societies just began to come into their independence. That's in my lifetime. That's in my lifetime. The Muslims realized that they were not free to be responsible for their own life and their own future. They realized that they have to go back and study their religion, research the Quran, research the life of our Prophet and the history of Muslims, and get a fresh perception of just what has transpired in the life of Muslims, so that we will have a better life and a better future and a more Islamic life and more respectable and respecting Muslims as citizens on this planet. We realize that, and Muslim leaders, scholars are realizing this throughout the Muslim world now. What we see in the news as the problem that the terrorists are making is not what we should see. We have to see that because it's a problem. What we should see is what's quietly being done, and I'm sure the media is not interested in being in on that, and that is the sincere, diligent, scholarly work that's being done by our great Muslims in many countries, Muslim countries, to bring us back to the great beauty and the great civilization that Prophet Muhammad, by the way of by God's blessing on him and mercy on him, gave us.
That's right.
In the days of Prophet Muhammad, there was no we call the oppression of Christians or Jews because of their faith, because of their religion. There was no mistreatment of Christians and Jews because of their religion. Jews were welcome in Medina. The Prophet mandated that they have the same rights to practice their religion under the Islamic government. They had, the same right to practice their religion under the Islamic government that they had before the Islamic government. Problems developed, and we know that good situation didn't last, but our position hasn't changed. We still want relations with Jews that are good. We still want not to persecute anybody because of their religion, but to recognize everybody and to give the same rights to everybody. We believe in this idea of pluralism in America. We believe in welcoming the diversity of cultures and also the diversity of religions. This is Islam, and we are discovering it ourselves, some of us, for the first time. Also, we have to understand that during colonial domination, they took over the education of the people that they dominated. And when freedom came, they had left their habits behind, they had left their mentality behind. And I have seen, I don't want to point to any particular country, but I have seen a Muslim country in Africa, but not only in Africa, in their pageantry, celebration. And I saw blacks imitating the pageantry of imperial white society. That's what I saw. I didn't see Africans. To me, those weren't Africans. They were imitating the pageantry of the imperialist white nations of the past, and there might be one still around. We also have to realize that even our presentation, how we present Islam, has been hurt by the long period of domination. Now I want to come to the present time. We have come to know men like Malcolm X, and I think everyone in America respects Malcolm X, at least his own intelligence, his own independence. He was an independent African American. And some of us also know of Elijah Muhammad, who influenced Malcolm and actually taught Malcolm and gave him his thinking. That's not to say that Malcolm didn't have his own intelligence, his own judgment, he did. But most of us, under the leadership of Elijah Muhammad, we were so much dominated by his image and by his magnifying, electrifying message that we were not even sober enough to use our own intelligence to make independent judgments. Now, that's not criticizing either. I have great respect for him and for the positive things that were done and achieved under his leadership. I'm speaking of my father, the late leader, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We know of an organization or movement that came into the eyes of the American people as the black Muslims. We know of things good and bad. We know of the type that that organization attracted. I don't say class, but the type. It attracted those who were most deprived culturally and who were poor, and many of them out of job, unemployed. It attracted also others. And this is a correction that I have to give right now. It attracted faithful, sincere Christians from the church. My mother was a faithful Christian before she became a Muslim. She sang in the choir. She had a very beautiful voice too. And I can recall her singing while cooking, cleaning up early in the morning before she ever got me up. And she would just, if the song said Jesus, she would just change it and put Farah, her Savior, there, you know. But she was singing the same spirituals, just changing the name from Farah, from Jesus Christ, peace be on him, to Farah. She told me herself that she was a spiritualist woman, and she accepted Islam because she believed that Islam was the right religion. And I know why she accepted Islam, because Islam gave her what she was not getting in the church or in Christianity. And that was a comfortable feeling with her black skin, and she was black. I take my color from my father's side, not my mother's side. She was black skinned. It was her beautiful black skin and her features that Islam made her very comfortable with. Islam is taught by the person who introduced it in the wrong way. That's Farad. I'm going to tell you some more about Farad as we go on. We also know of Marcus Garvey, a man who didn't preach Christianity, but he was a Christian, and his following was Christians. He preached pride in being black, pride in being African, and a desire to identify with Africa as one people, all of us, just one people, not Negroes and Africans, all of us Africans. He tried to get us to accept that. And I guess he had great difficulty, but he did get us to call ourselves African Americans. Garvey, Marcus Garvey, in my opinion, was a man who influenced Farad, the teacher of my father. Not only Marcus Garvey, but there was another who had introduced himself or established himself as a religious leader. That's Noble Drew Ali, who found and led the Moorish Science Temple, or the Moorish American movement. I believe also that Farad was influenced by Drew Ali, Noble Drew Ali. Drew Ali called his meeting places, or his places of worship, temples, Farad called his temples. Marcus Garvey preached black comfort, that the black man should be comfortable with what he is, his blackness, his nappy hair, etc. Garvey had done that before Farad did it. So I believe that he took from that. Not only these two, but also I believe that he took from Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington placed emphasis on practical things and building an institution. We know of Tuskegee University now that he built, that he founded and built up, and actually taught in it. He was the head of that university himself, that institution himself. And he introduced drill, military drill, in his school. Farad introduced military drill in his organization. But that drill was done on the school night for the FOI. Our school night was Monday night, every Monday night, and on that school night we would have military drill. Now, I have to say that we didn't depend on myself, W.D. Mohammed, to come from Farad's idea of Islam into mainstream Islam or mainstream Muslim society. We got help. We were helped by hints from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and even hints from his teacher, who's called Farad, W.F. Muhammad, Wali Farad Muhammad. He's called by many names. He even called W.D. Farad. This man, that I believe was a mystic, a religious mystic, I believe that he left many clear hints for the curious student. I would say also the suspicious student, so that the community would one day have new leadership that would reject Farad himself. Now, you might say, well, a man do something and even plan for his own dismissal or rejection? Yes. This man, this mystic, thought of himself as a Christ, as one sacrificing himself. So he didn't introduce himself even as he was. He introduced himself in disguise. By disguise, I mean the teachings, the knowledge that he passed on to my father was not what he believed in, but it was what he believed would have a shock effect on the mind, the moral and sensitivities of blacks, poor down and out blacks, to eventually bring them out of a kind of endless battle or endless confrontation with the white race. It was a psychology that is very difficult to explain, but it was a psychology that worked for me and for several others in the following of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said things that contradicted what he established as being most important. But most of us were so gravitated to the big fabrications or to the big stretching of truth that we didn't see the small things that he was saying that were in contradiction to those big fabrications. I'm not trying to clear this person or to say that this person should be forgiven, not even that. But I do tell you, I will tell you, pardon me, that I pray for his forgiveness, and I pray for my father's forgiveness for what they did that was un-Islamic off of what they did to discredit, misrepresent, and introduce false concept of Islam in America. But knowing their sincerity, knowing the sincerity of their intentions, make me love them, appreciate all their good work, and pray for their souls. So I'm sure that you want to understand what made us change. Not just the hints or the small influences that have real power when you see them in the teachings of Farad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but a climate had to come in America for us to make the change we made. And a climate did come. The progress for civil rights in America after the ugly confrontations with white bigots, we began to see a new white image for white people in this country. We began to think of them no more as being a race intended upon us, intended upon keeping us down or oppressing us, but we began to see that there was an element among them that had really victimized most of them while it was victimizing us. So we have come to see the white man and not feel as we used to feel, not fear him, and not hate him. And I repeat, it's not only because of the hints that guided us to Islam proper, correct Islam, but it's also because of that changing climate for racial sobriety in America. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at his home. And you'll be surprised to know that the two men liked each other. They were smiling with each other. Now, that's strange, isn't it? We were separatists attacking the civil rights, the integrationists, but the two leaders met in the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and there they found a friendship. They found warmth and a friendship. This is well known. This is well known now. This is not something that I know only. FBI knew it when it happened. That tells me something. How can Honorable Elijah Muhammad be so much against the movement for integration and sit down with the one who firing that movement to go forward and like him, shake hands with him, and part as friends? It's because circumstances require that you use means and methods sometimes that do not really represent you. But circumstances demand that you use such means and methods. And sometimes a person like Dr. King, he was true to his principles, I believe. A person like Dr. King, he will just show one side of himself. Now, I had this experience. I personally experienced this when I started calling the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad away from the incorrect idea of Islam to the correct idea of Islam. I experienced the same thing. I had to show only a facet of myself to his followers until his followers became comfortable with me. And then I began to show more of myself. And as I began to show more of myself, I lost the national leaders. They were all about me, working with me. Yeah, they didn't like what they saw as I began to show more of myself. They couldn't live with the whole Wallace D. Muhammad, you know. But most of you could, and you're with me now. Most of the followers of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the elders, women and men, females and males, they have stuck with me. Don't think they're somewhere else. They're with us in this association.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and they stuck with me because they believed in my sincerity. And I stuck with them because I believed in their sincerity. And I believed in their innocence. And I believe right now in the innocence of most of the followers of Farrakhan. I believe in their innocence. I even believe in Farrakhan's innocence. And I do appreciate him recently separating himself from the language that was used by his assistant, Dr. Carter. And I also have to congratulate Dr. Carter for saying that he won't be separated from Farrakhan. That's good to me. Those are good signs. I do believe that one day, more and more of them are going to see what we have seen, and we are going to be all together in the end. That's what I believe. The Muslims that follow Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam under Farrakhan, and the Muslims that are associated with us, I believe one day we are going to merge. The same things that happen in our experience, in our life, to change us, are already affecting them and have affected them in the past. And inshallah, God willing, we all will be together one day, sooner than we may think. But at the same time, we can't hold our tongue when wrong is done against another people. Our whole people, our whole religious group, singled out for slander or for ugly language. We can't hold our tongue. Muslims have to be courageous, bold, as moral people, as believers in God, and come out and make it known that they do not speak for Muslims, they speak for themselves. And because of the pressure being put on Khalid, Dr. Khalid, Farrakhan came out and he said that for us. Congratulations, Nation of Islam under Farrakhan. I believe that just like a seed from a tree or any other living thing has to have its proper environment in order for it to realize its destiny, its maturity, its destiny, so does the human soul, the human mind, the human being. We have to have a proper environment. You know, we would like to look back on slavery and think that when emancipation came, the freedom of the slaves came, that we had everybody wanting to be what the best of us want to be now. No. We had many slaves that didn't want to do nothing but get a break from working. And that's not the, I would say, that seriousness of the problem is not existing on us now, but we still have many of us, and it's true of all people, many of us that may join a movement for achieving more human excellence, or more excellence for our society, but they are really just thinking of and looking for relief from misery, from hardship, from poverty, etc. You can't ever depend on the majority of the people for the future of the people. It is the case down through history. It is a minority of the people that always bring about better conditions for the majority. Some of us play down the need for leadership, but if there was not a strong fisted leader like Elijah Muhammad, what would have happened to the Nation of Islam? It would have been destroyed a long, long time ago. Because we would have made trouble, and the white man would have been justified to come in and kill all of us. Islam has, I believe, been an influence in America to get the white race and also the black race to look at ourselves, to question our thinking, and become better people. Islam. Racism may be still here, but racist laws are not here. And anytime we discover one, we can get rid of it very easily. Racism may be still here, but the pressure and power, the punitive presence of racism is not here like it was when I was a boy. So we're living in new times. It didn't come about because Americans said, time out for that. It came about because Christians took the best of their Christian ideas and questioned their leaders, questioned their government and their government officials, questioned the leaders of America, and shamed the leaders of America, and shamed the morally sensitive white people of America, to the extent that they decided that this thing has to change. Now, remember that while the good people like Dr. King and many others, women among them, joined by white Christians and also by some Jews, while they were pressing for that awakening of the moral conscience of the American people, the white people, the Nation of Islam was challenging the white man too by calling him a devil. And sometimes you can get a man to clean up his act by showing his defects quicker than you can by pointing to his excellence that he's neglecting, you know? So what Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement was about, even Frederick Douglass before that time, the freedom movement under Frederick Douglass was the same. It was trying to get the white man to see that he was not conscious of his own image in light of what Christ's life is, peace be upon Christ, and in light of what this democracy, that democracy, and this democracy, it lives today, promises man, all men. We behold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among them life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. My professor, Jamil Diab, who taught us Arabic in Chicago, in the school, established by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now that's strange too, that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was teaching something very, very strange to what Islam is in the international world. Would invite a Muslim, an Arab, from that world to come into his private school and teach Arabic and some other courses. Not religious courses, but he taught Arabic and he taught math and general science. Well, my teacher, he was one day teaching our class, and we caused some disturbance in the class, and it caused him to digress and start talking to us about America. And he said, for Muslims, there's no problem with the Constitution in its spirit and in its intent. And he reminded us that the American Constitution recognized not a race, not a special race, but it recognized a special creation, and that is a common human creation that God made. So he pointed it out. That stuck in my mind and never left. And I believe that has been one of the germs, healthy germs, in my makeup that have worked me closer and closer to what God wants me to be on this earth. I do believe that. And I have come to have an appreciation for the intent of our founding fathers, an appreciation for the essence of the preamble to our Constitution, so much so that I believe it is a blessing from God to the American people. And I believe it's going to survive as it has survived. But I am not pleased with America. And at this point, I would like to start talking a little bit about the future. Muslims, we should get into the competition. And we are. I see it happen. Within the last 5 years or so, I have seen nationalized Muslims from overseas get into politics, now running for office, for government office, for political office. I've seen that. And before that, I saw followers that were once the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's followers getting involved in America's politics, United States politics, aspiring for government positions and winning positions, getting positions. I've seen that. So we do have the work started. We are making progress. We do realize now that we're in America and our children are going to be born here, and their children and their children's children are going to be born here. And we have to identify with this country, with this land, and see it as ours, and take full advantage of that right, and compete with other Americans, not to only establish our life, the Muslim life, and that's a big task, to establish Muslim life, Muslim community in America. It's a big task, but also to contribute to the better future of Christian, Jews, Buddhists, whoever lives in America. White, black, red, brown, whoever lives in America. We have to get into this competition. If we are, along with the Christians and Jews, believing that we are God's creation, that he created us for the human destiny and not the animal destiny, for the human end and not the savage end, then we have to get into this competition for ourselves, for our future life, and for the good of all Americans. Getting back now to the Nation of Islam, Malcolm, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I, myself, have never, since believing and knowing the direction of the Quran for Muslims, I have never been comfortable with everything the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us and never will. But at the same time, I love him, and I think I love him more now than I did before. I appreciate him more now than I did before. I pray for his soul harder now than I ever did. And I would say that for Malcolm too. Some of us think Malcolm is the perfect black man. Malcolm is the perfect Muslim. Malcolm was a striving, struggling man, just as I was, trying to find the light in the dark. And Malcolm, unfortunately, became a Muslim and was assassinated before he could really come into the mind that I knew he would have come into if he had lived. So the real Malcolm, the great Malcolm, Muslim man, regretfully we didn't see him and we never will. So we have to get away from being drawn to personalities. And I don't like it when you're drawn to me as a person. Don't be drawn to me as a person. I don't follow myself that you're looking at. I follow myself that's obeying God. There's one part in me that wants to have pleasure and fun and want to sometimes do the wrong thing. I don't follow that, Wallace. But there's another Wallace in me that wants to obey God. You don't see that Wallace when you look at me here. I have to tell you about that Wallace. You have to find that Wallace in my behavior and in my talk. That's the Wallace I follow. Now, I'm not asking you to follow that Wallace. That Wallace follows Mohammed, the last prophet. Follow the last prophet. And if you follow me because I qualified to be your leader in the following of the last prophet. You see? That's the understanding I want you to have. And please, don't flatter me too much. I don't like it. It doesn't make me confident. It makes me have to strain hard. I have to strain. To shut out your praise. And so don't put me to great discomfort like that. Just say, this is the son of Elijah Muhammad, who got all of his education from the private school of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He has only about 3 hours credit for college. He says he's going to go back at the year 80. When he reaches age 80, he's going back and try to finish college and get a degree. You know, talk like that about me, you know, and say that he's a poor man, and he doesn't have many credits at all, not among intellectuals, and not any among the wealthy people. So, this makes me very confident, and I think an attitude like that will help us all be very confident.
Yes, sir. That's right.
For the future, we want to be in the competition to advance the best for all people on this earth. We want to be in that competition. When Muslims study the community of our prophet that he led about 1,400 years ago, we have an inspiration to push us and move us forward into the forefront of all civilized, respectable efforts by human beings on this earth. We should be in the forefront of the movement for dignifying people on this earth and for bringing justice to people on this earth. I'm proud to say that I know of a few great organizations. I'm not going to name any of my name because I'd be leaving out others, and I don't want to do that. But we do have Muslim organizations, international organizations, that's making great contribution to the improvement of a lot of man on this earth. They are giving funds in the millions to help alleviate misery and help get people to come into their excellence all over this world. You'd be surprised to know that one Muslim country gave $50 million recently for the suffering people of Bosnia to bring foodstuff and medicine into the area for them. So we are proud of what is being done, but we are not yet accepting the commitment that we should accept. We are falling very short of accepting the commitment that we should accept and publishing ourselves as people put on this earth not only to work for the good of Muslims, but to work for the good of all people. God says that the prophet is a witness for us, and we are a witness for all people. A witness for all people means that we should do what the prophet said. The prophet said, the best of you is the one who is best in his service to humanity. Our religion is not a religion about race. Our religion is a religion about humanity. Our religion is not a religion about an exclusiveness on heaven. Our religion is a religion of fairness, justice, and appreciation for whatever good anybody does. And your good will get you into heaven, and we'll find Muslims and Christians and others there. The prophet said that he saw in a vision the followers of Moses and Jesus and his followers too in heaven, in the paradise. Peace be on you, and I hope I made some contribution. Assalamu alaikum.
I'd like to take this opportunity on behalf of the MSA and the AACC, the African American Culture Committee, to sincerely thank Mayor Bilal for introducing Imam Mohammed, and to sincerely thank Imam Mohammed for educating us about the significant part of African American history and the contributions that Islam made to it. We also sincerely thank our co-sponsors. You will see them listed in the program: the Texas Union Co-Sponsorship Review Board, the Department of African and African American Studies of the university, the Students Association, and within the Students Association, the Multicultural Affairs Committee, and Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. We also give special thanks to the South Austin Islamic Center, the University Co-op, the Austin Sun, the Embassy Suites Hotel, the Texas Union Graphics Lab, Taj Cuisine in Dobie Mall, Austin Gourmet, and finally the Office of the Vice President for Student Affairs. One general announcement: there will be an iftar, or breaking of the fast, dinner at the Islamic Center of Greater Austin, which is just south of the corner of 21st and Nueces. It will be, inshallah, God willing, at 6:23 p.m. this evening. Everyone, Muslim or non-Muslim, is welcomed. I'd also like to announce that the Muslim community of Austin has a project underway to establish an Islamic school here in Austin. For further information, please contact the Islamic Center of Greater Austin. Also, Muhammad Ali and his wife Lonnie will be coming to Kuntz, Texas on March 19th to lead a parade at 12 p.m. in the afternoon. Mayor Bilal, at 7 o'clock p.m. that evening, will be hosting a banquet to honor Muhammad Ali's wife Lonnie. For more information, please contact the Kuntz, Texas City Hall. Please remember to vote in the Students Association, for students out there. Elections March 1st through March 3rd. The MSA's official endorsement is on the back of the MSA Special Edition newsletter. You can pick one up on your way out, along with information about the situation in Kashmir, Islam in general, and more information about Imam Mohammed. Once again, thank you all for the honor of your attendance. However, you don't get to leave so soon. Now is your opportunity to have a question and answer session with the Imam. Please form a line at each of the two microphones to your right and your left. And please limit your questions, that means no comments, please, to 30 seconds or less. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
People lined up. You can go ahead and line up at the different microphones. Right here, we'll go ahead and take the first question. Please limit it to 1 minute and no comments, please.
You made an allusion to the caste system in India as maybe being based on color and being racist in how it's perceived. I was wondering if you could elaborate exactly on that, because I am from India. I've been there a few times, and I've seen, people of all colors, of all economic status, all, interacting with each other. Even recently, the government has taken great measures to alleviate any of those things that you were talking about. The caste system that I know did get abolished with independence from the British in the late 1940s. And I myself was of a high economic status. I would be considered a Brahmin 100 years ago, which is the highest caste. And I'm as dark as you can get.
Well, I'm not seeing you too well. The shadow is on you there. You say you're as dark as you can get. Well, I'm happy to get this news from you because I have some friends and associates from over there. They are Muslims, but they have maybe sometime we misidentify the cause of our mistreatment. Maybe it's not because they're black. Maybe they're treated like the lower class or the untouchables because they're Muslim, maybe, and just happen to be black. I don't know, but that's what they have told me. And I'm aware of a kind of subtle race kind of what I call racist arrogance in people from that part of the world, from India, who are not Hindus,
They're Muslims. But the white-skinned ones that look like European, more like Europeans in their color, I have noticed that some of them, they have, even though they're Muslims, they have a kind of superiority complex when it comes to socializing or accepting the dark-skinned, the black-skinned of their own people. Now, it's very rare, but I have seen that. I have seen that. So what I think, I want to believe, I do believe, I know that a lot of progress has been made in India. But what I think is the same thing that has happened in India that happened in America. The law has changed. The position of the government has changed. But you still have that in the people. And it's going to take a few generations for that to get out of the people. Wa alaikum assalam.
I've got two questions. I heard you mention about your father, Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And in light of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says to honor or to respect one who innovates in the deen, you have to destroy it. So Islamically, how is it permissible to respect Elijah Muhammad when actually he was an enemy of Islam?
Well, all the Arabs were enemies of Islam until they became friends of Islam. And Elijah Muhammad was not one that brought something new into Islam. He was an uneducated, uninformed African American, a black man in America, who thought that the only Islam was the Islam that he was given. So he was innocent when he bought that Islam. Now, if he came to know better and didn't change, then he was wrong.
And also I heard you make the statement that you make dua for him, or you
I certainly do.
make supplications for him.
I certainly do.
When the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was forbidden to pray for his mother, who was a non-Muslim, also Prophet Abraham, later on, which is in the Quran.
His mother was, peace be upon the Prophet, his mother was not my father.
Yeah, but,
And her circumstances were not my father's circumstances.
How can you put yourself
You're making comparisons here, brother, that are not really justified. You can't make comparisons like that. You're talking about persons, relatives, that saw the Prophet, was invited to the right Islam. I'm talking about ignorant blacks that knew nothing of Islam and thought that man was introducing the right Islam.
That's right.
You're making the wrong kind of comparison. It won't hold up.
All right, we'll take the question from the right, please.
I was just going to say that most of the people know how strict the Quran is. The American Muslims, are they taught the same way the Quran is taught all over the world? I mean, I know the Quran is very strict. You have to fast, you have to give charity, you have to obey a lot of rules like non-drinking, non-intoxication. Is it going to be taught here the same way that in the real Muslim nations, or just the name of Islam?
Well, there's only one way to teach it, and that's to teach it as it is, to teach it correctly. There's only one way. It doesn't mean that everybody's going to stop drinking at the same time.
Well, this is the
But I'm around African American Muslims all the time. I hardly ever see them drink. I don't see them smoke. I think they're very, very, very disciplined Muslims. Very disciplined Muslims. They're not praying as often as they should. I don't know, but they're very disciplined when it comes to staying away from the major sins, drinking and adultery and those things. Yes. So don't worry about us getting drunk. We've been drunk too long. We don't want to drink.
Take the question to the left.
Assalamu alaikum. Brother Ahmed, I would like to know if Muslims should accept the Constitution of America?
Yes, we should accept it as citizens of America. But that doesn't mean we don't want to see improvements in that Constitution. I spoke of it as a living organism. And it's even in the Constitution that if the citizens of this country decide that the Constitution itself can't serve their future anymore, the Constitution gives them the rights to change it or abolish it. So that's a good situation. Just get in the competition for the betterment of America and all the people.
We'll take the question to the right. And again, please limit your questions to one per person. Thank you.
Concerning brotherhood and equality, I was wondering if the ideas of marriage are exempt from those beliefs. I've seen a lot of, I've seen and witnessed a lot of reluctance as far as marriage goes in all of society. And I was thinking that if Islam practices brotherhood and equality so much, should that be, I mean, should it be looked down upon? Or I mean, I'm not saying it is. I'm asking, is there anything that says that it should or should be?
What mixed marriage?
Yes.
No. We're not to look down on mixed marriage. If the intentions are honorable, God says, do not take women, marry women out of lust. If the marriage is an honorable marriage, was not motivated by anything dishonorable, we have to respect the marriage, and we have no problem with it at all.
We'll take the question to the left. Again, one question per person. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulullah. All praise to God, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be on Muhammad and his rightly guided followers. I have a comment similar to the brother who gave the comment in the beginning. That Quran says that...
Excuse me, please limit it to a question. Thank you. If you could please.
Quran says that the biggest liar is the one who lies against God. And as you said, as I know maybe, that Elijah Muhammad...
Could you please phrase it if it's a question?
Elijah Muhammad claimed to be a prophet, that he got revelation, which is a big lie against God. And either he knew either he is a liar or he wasn't a liar. He was getting revelation or he wasn't getting a revelation. So I don't think we should honor someone who lies against God. That's all. Jazakumullah khair.
Yeah. I understand the question. He gave a statement, but it is a question. Whatever we do in ignorance can be forgiven, no matter how big the sin is. That's Islam. Whatever we do in ignorance can be forgiven.
We'll go to the right then.
Assalamu alaikum. The circumstances under which Master Farad Muhammad came to America and raising up the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do you not think that we should thank Almighty God Allah for raising up, for bringing us such people to raise us up to the point of Islam that we are today?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. We should thank Allah for saving us with the Quran. That's what we should thank Allah for saving us with the Quran. Because without the influence of the Quran, we would be lost until doomsday. We would have been lost till doomsday. The influence of the Quran is what have made all of us come to a better mind, better position, and a better life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question to the left.
What do you know about the situation? Can you tell us about the situation in Sudan and also the problem in within the indigenous people in Mauritania and the Arabs?
Yes.
Because I've read some article about the problem blacks are having in Mauritania with the Arabs. In
Yes.
Mauritania.
Yes. Yes, there are problems in many places, and we regret those situations, and we have to condemn bad behavior of Muslims. If they're Arab Muslims, we have to condemn the bad behavior. But we have to be fair and just condemn bad behavior wherever we find it. You also mentioned Sudan. Now, I'm aware, I'm more in touch with what is going on for some years. I've been in touch with what's going on in Sudan. And I know that Sudan has a lot of outside agitation, instigating things, instigating trouble. And I'm sure that the Sudanese government is a good government. The persons are well-meaning. They represent some of the best government people we have on this planet. And if they didn't have so much conniving going on, and intrigue going on, and instigating going on from the outside, from outside nations, to undermine the credits of the Sudanese government, and to keep bitterness between the South and the North, or the Christians and others that are not Muslim, and the Sudanese Muslims, I'm sure that Sudan could bring all the people of Sudan, the Sudanese government and its people could bring all the people of Sudan into a good life and a good future.
One thing I want to say is that many people don't talk about Mauritania. We have a caste system in Mauritania, slave system in Mauritania, and apartheid in Mauritania. But people don't like to say anything.
And the ruling party there, who are the, what religion is the ruling party?
No, I'm talking about in Mauritania.
In Mauritania?
Yeah, the indigenous people in Mauritania.
Okay.
There are a lot of things going on in Mauritania.
What is the religion there?
It's Islam.
That's what I thought. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
so we should put pressure on...
Most indigenous people in Mauritania are Muslims too.
Yes.
But they're practicing different slavery, caste system, and they're even trying to throw so many indigenous people out of Mauritania.
Yes, we have to do the same thing. We have to do the same thing in Mauritania that was done in America. Frederick Douglass, others, shamed America. So you're not living up to what you say you believe in. So the same thing has to be done in Mauritania. If they claim to be Muslims, we have to shame them until they stop behaving that way and bring pressure to bear on them from those people of conscience.
This is not good for a Muslim to treat another Muslim bad. That's
what I'm saying is that the people you're talking about are not Muslims, or either they're unconscious Muslims, and something has to be done to wake them up or to remove them.
Excuse me. Okay. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the right, and we will only take the questions of the people that are standing up, so please do not come and file anymore. So the people who are standing up are going to be the people who will ask the questions. Thank you. We're going to the right now. And please limit to one question, and that's it, please.
Assalamu alaikum. During the first Gulf War, the Islamic world as well as the Western world came to the aid of Kuwait. But now in Bosnia, we have Muslims being slaughtered, and it seems that there is a lack of zeal in alleviating the oppression of the Bosnian Muslims. I'd like to hear your opinion on
that. There is a lot of progress being made for Bosnian Muslims, for those who are being mistreated in Bosnia. But the situations are different, and Arabia was treated differently because America's interest and investments for Arabia is different than America's interest in investments for Bosnia. There are a lot of reasons for that. But that still doesn't make me give up having faith in the good intentions of our government, especially good intentions of President Clinton, Bill Clinton. I do believe that we have a real role in putting pressure on the Serbs. And the thing is going to be solved. It's going to be solved. I don't think it's going to be too long before the problem will be solved there, and justice will prevail for the Bosnian people, for the Bosnian Muslims, and for others. It's not just the Bosnian Muslims. Because if something like that happens, it's not only one party or the party that's singled out that suffer. Others suffer too.
Okay, please again limit your questions to one and keep them pertinent to the topic which was discussed today. And if the question has been asked previously, do not reiterate it. Please ask new questions and pertinent to the topic today. Thank you. We'll go to the left now.
I want to know when you start your fast.
When did I?
When you start your fast?
When did I start my fast?
No, when you. I start my fast.
Yeah,
what age?
All right, what age? At what age? Well, we think once a boy or girl shows signs of adult physiology, adult physical maturity, that the parents should start letting them know that they're obligated to fast, obligated by their conscience as Muslims to fast. But if a child younger than that wants to fast, that's wonderful. We have a child, my wife Shirley, we have a child, Wallace the second. He started fasting when he was about 7 years old, on his own. We didn't force him to do it. Well, I don't think we should force the children. We should just encourage them and have the good influences around to encourage them to join the fast, but not to force young children to take the fast. And then excuse them if they get very hungry and can't fast to the end of the day. We shouldn't feel bad about it. We should congratulate them for their 4-hour victory, 6-hour victory. We have to be human and intelligent and compassionate.
Okay, we'll go to the right, and again, please limit your questions to one and keep them pertinent to the topic. And if the question has been asked, please do not reiterate that question.
Assalamu alaikum, brother man.
Wa alaikum assalam.
As we all very well know, practically everywhere I've gone here in the continental U.S., I have seen the majority of the grocery retail business being owned by Muslims of various ethnic groups. And I was wanting to know what we could possibly do collectively, indigenous and immigrant Muslim alike, to do the best we could to admonish our brother in cleaning up a lot of the things that go on in the African American community, the exploitation and a lot of the other selling of products that are haram.
Yes. Yes. There are two ways to live the Muslim life, with your mouth and by action. So I suggest action. Open up a Muslim store and show him that you are a better example of what a Muslim should be than he is. Open it up right next to him if you can.
Question to the left, and again, one question, and please do not reiterate any other questions said previously.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
What do you see as the role, an important public role for Muslim women in America, other than, of course, the role of mother, which everyone knows is the most important role on earth? What is the public role Muslim women should take?
Well, in the days of the Prophet, grace and peace be on him, we had women on the battlefield with the men, encouraging the men. We had women who could formulate, who could write, compose powerful verses, encouraging the men and inspiriting them to give support. And we had women who questioned their rulers in the public during the time of the Prophet and after the Prophet, questioned their rulers in the public, who had a public voice. That's what I'm saying. So women should have a public voice. Muslim women should have a public voice and should be free to aspire for any public office they want to aspire for. as long as it can't be proven that it's un-Islamic for them to do so. And I don't know of anything that would make it un-Islamic for them to do so. You know, we talk about the backwardness of the Islamic world when it comes to the treatment of women. Now, I'm not responding just to Sister's question. But when you look, see, Muslim nations are headed by women. The ruler of Pakistan right now is a woman. And we have, I believe, if not 3, we have 2 rulers over Muslim nations, women rulers over Muslim nations. So if you can rise to the top of the government, be the head of state in Islam, then I don't see where we should worry about just going on and press forward for more equality. Just keep pressing forward for more equality. I'm kind of jealous of you females. You're getting more equality than we black men are getting out there.
Okay, we'll go to the question to the right. Again, one question, and please do not say a question that has already been said. And keep the question to the topic. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullahu khairan. Actually, you have talked about competition in America for better America. Yes. About the internal competition between you and Farrakhan, do you think the circumstances will come to be having a dispute like what happened between your father and Malcolm? And if this is expected, can you really work this out with Farrakhan and try to be coming to common terms under Islam in general and as guided by the Holy Quran and the Sunnah of Prophet Muhammad? Are there some steps to really have unity as you hope to have? Thank you.
Yes. We don't really have any serious problem with Farrakhan and his group. Not when it comes to the threats, physical threats on us, or physical threats on him. No, that hasn't happened. That hasn't occurred at all during the whole time of our separation from each other. That hasn't happened. And I don't believe it will ever happen. I don't see anything developing that would make that happen. To the contrary, I see developments in his group, and I think he sees developments also on our side that encouraging us to believe that the day will come soon when we will sit down and discuss problems and work out differences and be one Muslim with all Muslims of the world.
Thank you. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the question to the left, and again, limit your questions to 1, and please do not say a question that's been said before, and the people that are standing will be the final people with the questions.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi
wa barakatuh.
Brother Iman, do you think it's important as us as Muslims, African-American Muslims in America, to understand Arabic and the translation and understanding of the Quran, or should we go with the English translation that I hear a lot of Muslims today say in America?
Yes, we should benefit from the excellent English translations that we have, but we shouldn't be satisfied. We should encourage at least 1 or 2 members of our family that are Muslims, and encourage the younger ones, even better, to learn, study Arabic so that they can read the Quran in its pure and original text. We should encourage that. But that doesn't mean we should wait before we pick up the Quran until we can read Arabic. No, we have good English translations.
We go to, I think, our final question to the right. And again, 1 question, and thank you very much.
As to the future of Islam in America, we're all very involved in dawah projects. As an example today, I think we need not only to do dawah with indigenous people, but also with immigrant people, because I think there's a major misunderstanding, and I know this is a statement, about what American Muslims believe as to foreign or immigrant Muslims. What suggestions do you have for indigenous Americans to assist in the education of immigrant Muslims, the fact that we all do believe the same?
I would encourage any of our scholars, our imams, to meet with representatives of the immigrant Muslims or the naturalized citizens who come from abroad to address the problem of all Muslims, not just African American Muslims or Muslims of one particular group, ethnic group, but all Muslims, and work together for the good of all Muslims here in this country. And we do have some imams doing that. In fact, we have one here with us now from Houston. He's Imam Qasim Ahmed. And we have one in Midwest, a little south of Chicago, Imam Daniel Kareem. And they work with representatives of the ethnic groups, the Muslim ethnic groups, to help them. They are invited to go and make talks. They're invited to come and address classes. In fact, I think Daniel, he himself conducts a class for immigrant Muslims. But these are just isolated cases. On the whole, we don't have it at all. We don't have it. In fact, we don't have the acceptance of each other that we should have. And that's a real serious problem. So I encourage them doing what Imam Qasim Ahmed and Imam Daniel Kareem are doing.
Again, we would like to thank all of you for coming out to see Imam Mohammed at the Black History Month keynote address. We would like to thank Imam Mohammed for taking time out of his busy schedule to come and give us the speech today. I'd like to thank all the people who have helped make this event a success. Again, we have the newsletters out out when you leave. Please take one. And Jazakumullah khair to all that have attended this lecture and to make it a great success. Inshallah, all information will be available outside. Again, thank you very much, and we close off with Assalamu alaikum.
Let the world come together and let's put aside the fight. Let the leaders show the people how to do it right. Forget about the color and forget about the race. Let us all remember we got to live right here in this one place, yeah. When we remember we're one great family, and that we're like branches of a giant tree. So let the world come together and let's scoop down the place. Let us all remember we got to live right here in this one place. In this one place. Let the world come together and forget about the past. Let us think for the future and make the present last. Let's think about the babies and not leave them in disgrace. Let us all remember we got to live right here in this one place.